Well, hey there, idiots. Welcome back to Observe. In today's video, we're going to be analyzing the nonverbal communication of Jada Pinkett Smith in regards to an interview that she recently did. More on that in just a second. Let's go ahead and roll the intro first. It's important to me to be fully informed when researching videos like these, and that can be quite difficult when it comes to finding reliable information that isn't necessarily spun in some way for an alternative narrative. In fact, with so many news sources, it's hard to really know what's actually happening, and that is where Ground News comes in and helps make sense of it all. With their app and website, you can compare news coverage from thousands of different sources, revealing what's being ignored by the media and getting access to information that goes beyond mainstream algorithms. You can access data on things like who owns each publication and even their factuality ratings in one singular place. Their platform has become an important part of my research, and I'm excited to have them as a sponsor for this video. While researching this video specifically, I simply searched Jada Pinkett Smith on the website, and with just that, I had access to over 100 articles published on her in the past 3 months alone, including nearly half from international sources. I quickly found this story following her book Worthy, and over 20 articles have been published in the last day, and it looks like right-leaning outlets are barely covering it. This makes it what Ground News refers to as a blind spot. It looks like a majority of the sources are rated mixed factuality and owned by media conglomerates, telling me that the coverage is more likely sensationalized. When we look at the headlines, we can see exactly how language can shape how a story is perceived. Newsweek, a high factuality source, for example, highlights what their children have said, while Page 6, rated mixed factuality, says Will Smith's kids feel bad for him. I think that what Ground News is doing is really important, and check it out at ground.news/idiots and subscribe today for as little as $1 a month. Better yet, for this month only, you can get 30% off unlimited access and enjoy all of the features. Subscribing not only keeps you reliably informed, but it also helps support the channel here and the small independent startup working to add context and transparency to the media. Make sure to click the link in the description for your special Observe Idiot discount. And now, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Alright, again, for those of you who are unaware as to what's going on in the background of this situation, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith's relationship is no stranger to controversy in the eye of the public and the media. The couple had been married for nearly 20 years and also revealed in recent interviews and discussion that their relationship had evolved in unexpected ways. One key moment that Jada claimed surprised her was a heated exchange between Will Smith and comedian Chris Rock at the 2022 Oscars. A lot of you probably remember this. Following this incident, she realized that they hadn't referred to each other as husband and wife in a very long time, highlighting the growing distance in their relationship. Jada shared this information during an interview on The Today Show, where she also discussed her upcoming memoir, Worthy. In the same interview, she revealed that she and Will Smith had been living separate lives since 2016. However, they had not gone through an official divorce process, and they still shared their children, Jaden and Willow. The infamous Oscars incident involved a slap from Will Smith to Chris Rock, who had made a comment about Jada's head being shaved. Jada, who has alopecia causing temporary or permanent hair loss, expressed her concern for Will during the incident, noting that it was about something from the past between her and Chris. Will had invited his ex-wife to the Oscars, believing that it would be a crowning moment as he was a frontrunner for an Academy Award for his role in King Richard. Despite winning the award, the Academy decided to ban him from attending any Academy events or programs for the next 10 years due to the altercation. During the years following their separation in 2016, Jada and Will faced challenging moments in their relationship, including Jada's entanglement with a third party. They, however, continued to maintain a good public image by attending red carpets and award shows together. Jada had explained that they had initially chosen to not go public with their separation because they were unsure of how to present themselves to the public. Their marriage came to an end after nearly 20 years because they felt exhausted from trying and being stuck in their fantasies of what the other person should be rather than who they were. In another interview, Jada revealed that they did not create a prenuptial agreement before their 1997 wedding because they never saw divorce as an option. They made a promise to each other that they would figure things out, even during tough times. This revelation about their separation in 2016 and the evolution of their relationship sheds light on the challenges and changes they faced as a couple after nearly 2 decades of marriage. This video is centered on the interview done on the Today Show. I was not able to track down footage of the entirety of the interview. It streamed live on a couple of different platforms that I did not have access to, so I'm working with a very slim amount of footage. That being said, if the full interview does get released and it's enough of an interest to you, I might be able to take a look at the entire thing. For now, though, let's go ahead and take a look at what most of the internet is familiar with and see what we can learn non-verbally from it. Let's dive in.
There are so many surprising things in the book, but the thing that surprised me the most, that I actually had to reread it because I said, is this true?
Right.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Whenever the interviewer says that in 2016, we start to see some nonverbal activity coming in from Jada Smith immediately. So first we're seeing a tightening of the lips as she's doing a smile that's not conveying joy, but a smile that's conveying knowing, a mutual understanding, a mutual knowing. And this is also partially mixed in with the expression of contempt, as one side of the face is a little bit more active than the other. And that moral or intellectual superiority makes sense in regards to what the interviewer is addressing here, which is this: we've been split since 2016. So we're seeing Jada begin to emote in what would be considered a synchronized fashion with what the interviewer is asking and requesting. We're already getting some understanding here. Let's see how it plays out.
It was not a divorce on paper,
Right.
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
Yes.
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
Okay, gonna go ahead and pause there. Another thing that Jada's doing throughout all of this is this very overt affirmative head nod. This is something that can be used on many different levels, from very broad head nods to very small head nods, and they are used to be able to encourage a person who is saying or doing a certain thing to continue down that certain line of processing or doing. In this case, it's just, yes, you're on the right track. This is the correct thing. However, in other areas, you can use this to even help people see your point of view when they might not see eye to eye with you initially, is to nod in agreement with what you're saying or what they're saying as you're speaking to them when it's lining up with what you're wanting to say. That will connect to their subconscious, letting them know like, oh, I'm on the right track and I'll keep going here, or they feel safer or more included in that area. So that's something that we're seeing here from Jada. Let's keep watching this footage.
I feel like you're a straight talker.
I am.
Here. Okay, so I feel like you're a straight talker, and there's a very substantial eye blink after that. That distancing between the statement and the fact being said, it could be an indicator of possible deceit. Whenever a person has a prolonged eye blink, it's known as an eye blocking gesture, and there is a possibility of deceit in that. So with that I am and that smile in there, that could indicate that she's aware that she doesn't necessarily talk as straight as she's trying to claim. But let's keep watching.
Except you're not sometimes.
Yeah.
So why do that? Like, what was the reason?
I think.
Okay, and then whenever the interviewer now says, except you don't, you aren't straight talking sometimes, her yes is accompanied again with a prolonged eye blink, and then a little bit of a pulling down in the corners of the mouth that she's saying yeah, and now the very right after that, the very next thing that she's starting to do here is a substantial fear expression with the pulling down of the corners of the mouth. This is something that indicates, as I said, a fear of being caught out in something. Very common to be able to see, especially when people have been challenged or counteracted on certain things, or if they do something that they feel might have not been appropriate. You can see the corners of the mouth being pulled down into the side. So we're seeing that pop up here. She's been caught out and kind of called out for not necessarily speaking very clearly on things. And let's hear her response on that.
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us
Yeah.
how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people, you know? And we hadn't figured that out.
Why did the relationship fracture?
So during this time, I'm just noticing the flow of her words is very intentional. It's slow. There aren't any ums or uhs that are breaking it up. So this could either indicate that this is a highly rehearsed answer or that it's being fairly synchronized. And so in this area, either one, it's just information for us to be able to gather in if she's being synchronized. And this is important information to be able to add context to their relationship. If this is fully rehearsed, then we have to just understand that there's the possibility that the facts being given aren't necessarily true. With those two things in mind, let's just continue forward into this little blip, and we'll discuss it all at the end.
Chip fracture.
Oh, well, why a fracture? That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be. I made a promise that there...
Gonna go ahead and pause there. I do find it interesting that when she's starting to respond, she removes her sunglasses. This actually draws attention into her eyes, which is more of an indicator of authenticity. A person would be more likely to wear sunglasses to mask their eyes if they were trying to be deceitful. If you want an example of that, look at just about any professional poker tournament. Oftentimes the people hide their eyes to be able to help hide their own tells. So for her to remove her glasses during that point is a fascinating point of, please, like, see my authenticity, which is surprising to me. And now we're going to go ahead and dive into this other little portion of this as we continue forward.
Promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever. And I just haven't been able to break that promise.
But you still live separately.
We live separately.
Okay, and that's it. That's all that I was able to track down. If you could find more of this, just let me know. Maybe send it my way, a link, something along those lines. I looked all over the internet, could not track down a full version of this interview. Now, with that, we're seeing a little bit of engagement and aggression coming forward as she's talking about we wanted to be able to fight and work through any of the problems that we're having, which we're seeing this engagement come in as she's leaning forward. And as she's then talking about how there wasn't a way to be able to do that, we see her settling back in. So non-verbally speaking, what I'm able to gather from Jada during all of this time is that she's being fairly synchronized, and it seems to be fairly authentic to me. Now, what she has stated in this little blip isn't very controversial. Now, another thing that I was able to gather from various news articles, etc., as reading through this, is that there's a level of blame shifting and manipulation that she does present. So with this video, something that I want to keep in mind and call to the minds of everybody else is that this is just one side of an argument. There's always two sides of it, and sometimes you can only hear the one side and it makes complete sense without hearing the other side. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and keep our eye on this. Perhaps Will Smith will release his own video in regards to this. Perhaps there will be more interviews, something along those lines. And we'll be able to kind of add some more context to this little blip that we saw here. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the situation itself. Let me know if I've missed anything or if I breezed past anything that you felt like could have a little bit more attention given to it. Just fill me in the comments below. If you like this video, consider doing so, like liking the video, hit subscribe if you want to. You can become a channel member now if you would like to add just a little extra support to the channel. That would be a way of doing it. You also get some badges next to your name, some emojis, things like that. It's a pretty good time. So feel free to go down there and do that if you are in the mood. But without further ado, that's all that I've got for today. My name is Logan, and you have been oh so awesome as you always are, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.